My next guest is a mother of five. Caroline Farrow is also a Catholic commentator. And last week, she was arrested in front of her children. Why? Because she dares to share her opinion about gender being biological. She also believes it's unchangeable. That has seen her get into a few Twitter spats with trans activists, the types that call J.K. Rowling a bigot and much worse. Last week, while she was roasting a chook for the children, police came in and barged into her home, demanded she hand over all her electrical devices, and then the Surrey police dragged her off to jail, where she spent the next 8 hours frightened and understandably stressed. Caroline Farrow joins me now. Caroline, this is just an incredible story. Why were you arrested? What heinous crime are you alleged to have committed?
Well, it's not entirely clear, but apparently it's harassment and malicious communications. Harassment relates to a long-running Twitter spat I've had with a transgender activist who sued me 3 times in the civil courts. And what this activist does is he will traduce your reputation on social media. So he will tag in your work and he'll try and get you deplatformed. And he was traducing my character and saying what a terrible person I was, etc., etc. So I pointed out that he had an even more unsavoury character than mine was supposed to be. So he then printed off all my tweets and went running off to UK police saying she's harassing me, even though none of the tweets, I wasn't shown any specific sort of tweet, I don't think, but even though none of the tweets tagged him in and he was blocked from my feed, he just took my tweets to the police and said she's harassing me without any context. And then he got a third party to join in with him and claimed that I was posting on this internet forum called Kiwi Farms. And, someone had been posting memes and things, which he says was me. Well, there's absolutely no evidence to suggest it's me. And in fact, what evidence there is mitigates away from that, because this person posts a lot of the time on a Sunday morning, and I play the organ in mass on a Sunday morning. There's absolutely no evidence to suggest I'm behind these posts, but the police just seized all my devices so they could get proof. And they've admitted that, actually, Rita. They've said the reason that they had to arrest me was in order to seize my devices. And what's quite scary, they said they had to seize my devices in order to prove the offence, which doesn't make it sound
so
like
you're guilty until... So basically, you're guilty until you can prove you're innocent, until your devices can show, well, actually, I'm in church whilst these were posted. I'm playing the organ, and it's a bit hard to be posting on social media and playing a musical instrument. I mean, it is crazy. And when these trans activists have harassed you, when they have actually sent communication that does cross the line into harassment or threats, have you made a complaint to police? And if you have, what has been the response?
Yeah, well, I've actually given up complaining to the police. So there was a blog set up a few years ago. It produced death threats, it produced rape threats, it sort of outed all the personal details of all my family. It outed my children's schools. It talked about whether or not it wanted to disfigure my children's faces with acid. I had my photos put on Pornhub. There was a period of weeks where we had takeaways being sent to us like 7-8 times a day for 3 weeks. And then again, during lockdown, this blog took responsibility. It said it knew how my children got to school and where they went. It encouraged people to come to our house. One police officer said to me, I've never seen anything quite so bad, but the investigating officer basically said to me, if you don't like it, don't look at it. And then they also said they weren't going to investigate any of the pizzas that were being delivered because they said it wasn't a proportionate use of resources, even though a lot of businesses were losing money because someone was putting in malicious orders. There'd be, for cash on delivery, and then they weren't getting the money. And the delivery company, it was the internet platform Just Eat, wanted to work with the police to find the culprits. They had the IP address, and the police just were not interested. They weren't interested in working with the NSPCC. Somebody put in a false accusation that my husband was sort of abusing me and the children. They didn't investigate that and who'd done it. They had a cursory look at where the blog was hosted and thought, oh, well, we can't trace that, even though they had some suspects. And the suspects, I said, can't you seize the IT? Because it was very, very obvious who was involved. And they said, no, we only seize IT, but it's really hardcore crime like terrorism. So, basically they're saying that my sort of social media row with a very notorious transgender activist, they automatically treated him like he was the victim. And he basically went to them with
it seems to be clear. It seems to be clear that the police are only interested in these cases, in these mean tweets, if a leftist activist is offended, if a mother of 5 is having these threats and harassment, that they're not investigating properly. Caroline Farrow, we'll speak to you again. Hopefully there is some justice for you. Thank you for joining me tonight.